Honorable Principal Dr. Sahebrao Chauhan sir, Coordinator IQAC and MBA Department Professor Parikshit Agrawal, Coordinator Department of BCom Computer Application Dr. Revati Bangreman, and all present here, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I, Shailesh Devdas Jambanti, Assistant Professor in Department of BCom Computer Application, GS College of Commerce, welcomes you in the International Webinar Series on Recent Trend in Computer Application. Today's session is on the topic TDS and GST using Tally Prime. To enlighten on the topic, we have honored Ms. Mary Joseph, Tally Expert, SoftSense TechnoServe Private Limited. To introduce our today's guest, I would like to request Dr. Revati Bangre ma'am to introduce our guest, today's guest. Ma'am.
Good afternoon, all. I, Dr. Revati Bangre, coordinator in BCC department, uh, like to introduce today's guest. Now, I would like to tell you one thing that today's guest is very much expert in Tally software, and she is going to teach you TDS and GST while using Tally Prime. Okay, so she is going to demonstrate you how to enter these transactions in Tally. Okay, she is from Nagpur STPL TechnoSafe Private Limited, which is associated with Telesolution Bangalore. Okay, so I request Madam to start session, but before start session, I would like to present my heartful thanks to Madam that she accepted our invitation for this session to enlighten our students about this TDS and GST in Tally, because nowadays it is very essential to understand how it perform on computer. So without wasting any time, I request Madam to please start the session. Madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, sir. And good afternoon, all of you. Today's session is on GST. Today we are going to completely explain you about the GST, the taxation, indirect tax GST, and the direct tax TDS. Both topic I am going to explain you using the Tally Prime, जो हम लोगों का न्यू सेशन है, न्यू सॉफ्टवेयर है. On the 9th December, Tally Solution has introduced a new version of Tally, which is called as a Tally Prime. Using the Tally Prime, I'm going to explain you the taxes, GST and TDS. First of all, I'm going to explain you what is GST. Tally for GST and you. Today's agenda is to explain introduction to GST. Actually, GST is a taxation, indirect taxes. Introduction to GST. What is GST? Understanding GST. GST highlights registration, GST compliances, brief interference in comparison with existing law. The previous law, not the existing law. Existing law is the GST. The previous law, what will change? Preparedness for the GST. First is introduction to GST. What is GST? GST is an important breakthrough in the sphere of indirect reforms in India. Improved tax system over the central excise duty and sales tax system. इसे improved version में display है. Significance, importance, the next logical steps toward a comprehensive indirect taxes reforms in the country. Journey so far. Let me start from the journey of GST. हम लोग जीएसटी का जर्नी से स्टार्ट करने वाले हैं. जीएसटी हैज बीन इंट्रोड्यूस इन अ कंट्री आफ्टर द 13 years long journey since it was the first discussed in the report of the Khelkar Task Force on indirect taxes in the year 2013. The journey starts from here. Outline on the major milestones. First is in 2003, the Khelkar Task Force suggests the goods and service tax (GST) based on VAT principle. It is completely based on the VAT principle. VAT means value added tax. It is the previous tax system. Then budget speech for the financial year 2006 and 7. And after that, the first discussion on the paper, Goods and Service Tax in India in November 2009. It was discussed. Bill was passed by the Lok Sabha on 6/5/2015, and after that the draft model GST law was released and put in the public domain in June 2016. It was put up in the public domain in June 2016. After that, the Constitution Amendment Bill for the GST passed by the Rajya Sabha in August 2016. And on 1st July 2017, it was applicable to all. We are using a GST. From the 1st July 2017, GST was applicable. Now, what is GST? Actually, GST stands for Goods and Service Tax, which is comparatively tax levied on manufacture, sales, and consumption of goods and services at PAN level, India. PAN level based था GST goods and the services. It is completely based on the supply of the goods and the supply of the services. GST will be the one tax for a whole nation, will make India one unified common market. GST was introduced because to make a unified and the common market. We want to make the slogan, one nation, one market, and one nation, one tax. For this only we have introduced the tax system which is called as a GST. Why GST? Why not the other thing? Why we have introduced the GST? Why GST? What exactly it is? GST. GST is because it is a simple tax structure. The first thing in GST is that simple tax structure. GST tax structure is a very simple to work on it for everyone. Now, the next thing, eliminates cascading effects. The previous tax system was a very eliminating, very irritating, and the number of taxes was included in a single bill. So to eliminate the cascading effects, we have introduced a GST. Next, and the most important, is the technology-driven system was applicable. And the last one, the increased revenue. Revenue will be increased. For this only, the GST was introduced. Why GST? The answer is GST is a simple tax structure. It eliminates the cascading effects, technology-driven systems, and increased revenue. Because of all these reasons, we have the GST is a very good type of taxation system. Highlights of GST. Common threshold limit across the country. All over the country, we are getting a common threshold limit for all over the India. Continuity of the tax credit across the supply chain till it reaches the consumer. Tax credit continuity will begin starting from the manufacturing till it comes to the consumer. Elimination of the tax cascading effects in the supply chain, PAN-based registration. Registration on GST is completely based on the PAN, on the supply tax liability instead of removable and safe. Highlights of GST. Valuation method broadly as the transactional value. It is completely on the transaction value. Another thing, branch transfer taxable and the credit eligibility. Next highlight is the tax credit eligibility on the inward supply of the goods and services for interstate transactions. We are getting a tax credit eligibility for on the inward supply of the services, and also for the interstate transactions also. There is no need to fill another type of the form. No declaration form like form number C, form number F, and form number E1, E2, and another type of the forms. Registration threshold limits. What are the for the regular dealer? For the regular dealer all over the India, Northeast India, aggregate turnover exceeds 9 lakh for registration and 10 lakh for the payment. Northeast India. Regular dealer. Next is the rest of the India. Aggregate turnover exceeds 19 lakh for registration and 20 lakh for the payment of the taxes. Northeast aggregate turnover exceeds 9 lakh for the registration and 10 lakh for the payment of the taxes, and the rest of the India aggregate turnover exceeds 19 lakh for the registration and 20 lakh for the payment of taxes. For the composition scheme, composition levy, aggregate turnover does not exceed 1.5 crore. Registration is compulsory. For the levy, composition levy, aggregate turnover does not exceed 1.5 crore. These are all the threshold limits for the registration, both for regular dealer and for the composition scheme. Transition registration, migration, automatic registration, and first provisional and then final registration. Actually, now we are getting directly the final registration. Automatic registration or migration means, what do you mean by automatic registration? Actually, it means that in the previous taxation system, if you are registered in a VAT, if your company is registration in the VAT, sales tax, excise duty, and another type of the taxes, if you are registered, then automatically it will register or migrate into the GST system. If you are a new dealer, then you have to register for it. You have to give the PAN number and go through the registration process, and you will get the GST number. Current tax structure. What are the previous? Actually, not the current. It is a previous tax structure. Central tax, excise duty, service tax, DE, surcharge and cess, CVD and SAT. These are the taxes for the central tax, and for the state tax, VAT, CST, purchase tax, luxury tax, surcharge and cess, and entry tax. These taxes are taken for the state tax and central tax. Tax collected and shared between the central and the state. These two different type of the taxes which is collected from manufacturer to consumer, up to the consumer, and it is distributed between the two state, central and the state, both types of the government sharing these type of the taxes. Now the tax components of GST. What are the tax component of the GST? We are using the word dual concept. And what are the dual concept? CGST stands for Central Goods and Service Tax, This is applicable on the supply within the states, means the tax collected will be shared to the central government. Another one is a SGST, means SGST stands for State Goods and Service Tax. This is applicable on the supply within a state. Tax collected will be shared to the states. Next one is an IGST. IGST stands for Integrated Goods and Service Tax. This is applicable on interstates and import transactions. Tax collected is shared between the central and the state. Both will be going to share this. Next one. Which type of the taxes is subsumed into the type of the central taxes and in the state taxes? Let us see the tax subsumed under GST, both in the central and in the state. Let us see excise duty, ADE, service tax, and surcharge and the cess. These taxes are subsumed into the CGST, which is a central goods and service tax. Now let us see for the state. VAT, value added tax, purchase tax, entry tax, luxury tax, all these types of taxes are subsumed into the SGST, means state goods and service tax. Now CST, central sales tax, CVD and SCD, these are subsumed into the tax IGST, integrated goods and service tax. All these CGST, SGST, IGST is subsumed into the tax which is called as GST, means the goods and service tax. Determination of the charges. Now let us see how charges will be determined. Next one, location of the supply, supplier location, location of the supplier, place of supply. Both are Maharashtra. Place of supply and location of supplier is Maharashtra. Tax will be charged CGST and SGST, which is called as intra-state. Location of supplier and place of supply is Maharashtra. The tax will be charged CGST and SGST, which is called as intra-state. Next, determination of charges, location of supplier and place of supply. Location of supplier is Maharashtra. Place of supply is Karnataka. Two different states. The tax will be charged interstate IGST, integrated goods and service tax. Location of supplier is Maharashtra. Place of supply is Karnataka. Tax will be charged as IGST, which is called as interstate. Means the transaction are done between the two different states. Input credit mechanism. Now we are going to see what is input credit mechanism. In this, we have a buyer and supplier. Buyer, supplier send the tax invoice to buyer. Supplier sent the tax invoice to buyer. Then buyer receive the goods and the service tax. Now provisional ITC and electronic credit ledger is generated in GST portal into the tax department. Then supplier has to return the file to the tax department and he will get the tax liability. If ITC is applicable, then he will send it to the electronic credit ledgers and eligible the ITC. Now, the type of returns. How many type of the returns are available in GST? Dealer type is a regular and casual dealer. तो रिटर्न टाइप रहेगा आपका GSTR1 which is used for outward supply. It will frequency is monthly and the due date is the 10th of succeeding month. GSTR2 it is used for inward supply. Monthly है 15th of the succeeding month. Now you have to file the return GSTR3B monthly 20th of succeeding month. GSTR8 for annual report on the 31st December. Compounding taxpayer. Compounding taxpayer means the composition levy. Quarterly he had to pay the return on annual turnover. And the report is generated as GSTR4. He has to pay the quarterly 18th of the succeeding month, and for annual he had to file the return GSTR8 for the annual returns. Non-resident taxpayer, he has to pay GSTR5 monthly 7th day after expiring of registration. An input service distributor, ISD, he has to pay the GSTR6 monthly 15th, and the tax deductor GSTR7 monthly 10th of succeeding month. These are all the return files which all the dealer, regular, composition dealers, a non-resident, ISD and the tax deductor. Each and everyone has to return the file on the due dates. Next step, upload process. Uploading process for the sales invoices or the outward supply in GST portal. Purchase invoice 15th of every month, and for the automatic tax return GSTR 3B should be paid on the 20th of every month. Every month on the 20th of every month you have to file or pay the return 3B for the regular dealer. GSTR 3B. GST return R1 outward supply made by the taxpayer 10th of the next month. GSTR 2 inward supply received by the taxpayer means the purchases 15th of the next month. GSTR 3B GSTR return for the month will be with the taxes, right? 20th of the next month. Every 20th of the next month you have to pay. Now the payment. 20th of subsequent month, mandatory e-payment for the amount exceeding rupees 10,000. Online NEFT, RTGS, IMPS is available. If you are paying online, then offline, cash and check, DD, etc. you can use it. Next, with GST, the changes. What are the changes which has happened due to the GST? First of all, the technology comes digital B2G connection, means business to government. We are connected with the all the businesses connected with the government. Digitally, we are connected. End-to-end technology driven systems is available. Next is GST compliances rating. The process. Transaction focused. Transparency from the gross root level of the business records. Triangulation of suppliers and recipient records. Rectification errors and omissions. Reconcile the return with books. All these are happening. Today it is very easy for less scope, because each and every bill has to be used. Next is VAT only dealers to GST. Compliances to inherited provisions of excise and service tax in GST. Late fees is 100 per day for every day during which such failure continues subject to a maximum of rupees 5,000. Interest. Delay in the tax payment, the rate of the interest is yet to be notified. Fines. Rupees 10,000 or an equal amount to the extent of the tax evaded, imprisonment with the fine up to 5 years depending on the amount of the tax evasion, with the slab ranging from the 25 lakh to 500 lakhs. Late fees per day every day during which the such failure continues subject to a maximum of rupees 5,000. Interest है delay in the tax payment, the rate of the interest is yet to be notified and the fines is 10,000 or an equal amount to the extent of the taxes, right? Need and help on the GST? You can download the Tally for GST app. You can contact in this contact number or visit our blogs, blogs.tallysolution.com, or contact to our nearest in a Nagpur Subsumed TechnoServe India Private Limited. You can contact us if you want any help about GST, GST course and related to GST, right? All these are the type of GST. Now, another one is our TDS. What exactly is TDS? One type of the taxes which you have used is GST. GST is an indirect taxes. All the students today are connected as of the commerce stream students. They know the taxes. There are two different type of the taxes. The first one is an indirect taxes and another one is an direct taxes. In an indirect taxes, you are getting a GST, and in direct taxes, first one is an income tax and another one is an TDS. Today we are going to learn TDS. First of all, we are introducing a TDS introduction. TDS, the full form of TDS is the tax
Excuse me मैम,
deducted.
हेलो.
Yeah, yeah.
प्रेजेंटेशन शो नहीं हो रहा है मैम.
Okay, okay, fine, sir.
एंड आपका कैमरा थोड़ा सेट कीजिए आप. आउट ऑफ फोकस थोड़ा और राइट है. ओके.
Is it clear?
ओके मैम. एंड प्रेजेंटेशन.
Is it visible, sir? Presentation is visible?
यस मैम.
Okay, thank you,
नाउ
sir. Yeah. Excuse me, sir. Shall we start? Okay, thank you, sir. Now our the presentation is visible. Okay, sir. Now, other type of the tax we are starting is a TDS. Two type of the taxes are there. Number one is an indirect tax and another one is an direct taxes. In indirect taxes, we have explained you the tax which is called as an GST. It is an indirect taxes. Now, another tax is a direct tax. In direct tax, two type of the taxes are introduced. Number first one, you all are aware about the income tax, which comes under the direct taxes. Another one is a TDS, tax deducted at source. First of all, we are going to explain you the concept of TDS. First is the TDS. The concept of TDS was introduced with an aim to collect the tax from every sources of income. As per this concept, a person, deductor, two persons are involved in this. The number one is a deductor and another one is called as a deductee. Deductor who is liable to make the payment of specified nature to another person, and the deductee is a receiver of that payment. Deductor who pay the payment to deductee, and deductee is a receiving. Deductor is going to deduct the tax amount from the deductee's payment and give it to the central government. The deductee who received the less amount from the committed amount from the deductor, and deductor is going to give him the 26 AS form or TDS certificate issued by the deductor for the less payment. We are taking an example in another slide, so you can understand how the deductor will deduct the tax amount from the deductee's amount and issue the deducted amount against that TDS certification. Now, what is the TDS, tax deducted at source, TDS? It is a system introduced by the Income Tax Department. TDS is completely introduced by the Income Tax Department, where the person responsible for making a specified payments such as a salary, commission, professional fees, interest, rent, etc. is liable to deduct a certain percentage of the taxes before making payment in the full to receiver of the payment. As the name suggests, the concept of TDS is to deduct the tax at its sources, from where you are getting the income. We are going to deduct from there only. And the rate of the taxes is given by the government. For the commission, it is given the 5% we have to deduct. For the professional services, we have to deduct the 10% amount, interest 5%, and for the rent 10%. Means different type of the tax rate is also given by the Income Tax Department. Now, what is the advantage of the TDS? TDS based on the principle of the pay as and when you earn. Without earning, you can't able to pay or deduct the TDS. TDS is a win-win scenario for both the taxpayer and for the government. For the both, taxes is deducted when making the payment through cash, credit or the check, which is then deposited with the central agencies. Means both is advantages for both of them, for deductor and for the government also. And what about the deducting? A big question mark comes for the deducting. If he is earning a 10,000 and from that 10,000 he has to pay 1,000 to the government and receiving a 9,000 from the deductor. So what about the 1,000? For the 1,000 he can apply a form or apply for that 1,000 by filling an TDS form to the income tax department, and he will get back his money, get back his TDS amount which is deducted by the deductor from the deductee, right? Now let us take one example of TDS. Let us take an example assuming that the nature of the payment is a professional fees on which a specified rate is 10%. Uflix Limited makes the payment of rupees 60,000 toward the professional fees to Mr. Shyam Agarwal, Chartered Accountant. Then Uflix Limited shall deduct a tax of rupees 6,000 and make a net payment of rupees 54,000, means 60,000 deducted by rupees 6,000 to Shyam Agarwal. The amount of rupees 6,000 deducted by Uflix Limited will directly be deposited by Uflix Limited to the credit of the government. Means Uflix Limited has to pay 60,000 as a professional fees, or you are better known, all the commerce students, audit fees to Mr. Shyam Agarwal, a chartered accountant. We are paying, our company is paying 60,000 to Mr. Shyam Agarwal, a chartered accountant, for audit of our accounts. So for this, we are deducting a 6,000 rupees as a TDS. Now, Uflix Limited is a deductor and Mr. Shyam Agarwal is a deductee. Deductee had to receive rupees 60,000, but he is receiving rupees 50,000, 54,000, means less rupees 6,000. What about the 6,000? For the 6,000, our company Uflix Limited is going to give him a TDS certificate or form number 26 AS against rupees 6,000. Right? Do you understand the concept of TDS? Now, what is TAN and how to apply for the TAN? TAN stands for Tax Deduction Account Number. It is a unique identification number which is 10 digits alphanumeric number required to be obtained by all the person who are responsible for deducting or collecting the taxes. Under section 203A of the Income Tax Act 1961, it is a mandatory to code the tax deduction account number TAN allotted by the Income Tax Department on all TDS returns. This procedure for application of the TAN is very simple and can be done online by filling up the form number 49B. For the deduction TDS, कोई भी पर्सन TDS का ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन कर सकता है अंडर द फॉर्म नंबर 49B, and you will get the TAN number, TDS number, which is called as a TAN number. TAN stands for Tax Deduction Account Number. It is completely based on your PAN number. It is completely based on PAN number, and All the responsible person should apply for the TDS. Now next, what is TDS certificate? Now we want to know what is exactly the TDS certificate. TDS certificates are issued by deductor, the person who is deducting the tax, to the deductee, the person whose payment the tax is deducted. There are mainly two types of TDS certificates issued by the deductor. There are the two different type of the forms which is issued after deducting the TDS by the deductor. Form number first is 16, which is issued by the employer to the employee, incorporating details of the tax deducted by the employer throughout the year end. Right? 16A, which is issued in the all cases other than salary. Other than salary, if you are deducting a TDS, other than salary. For the salary, you have to receive a 16, form number 16, other than salary. Means the rent, commission, interest, interest on security, advertisement, different type of the expenses. For that you have to receive a form number 16A. Your certificate will have the total validation unless the officers cancel it. ये सर्टिफिकेशन वैलिडेशन है जब तक आपका ऑफिसर इसे कैंसिल ना कर दे. This is a TDS. Now let us check it out. A software which is called as a Tally Prime. All the commerce students, I don't know whether they know or not. Actually, for the taxation, for accounting process, we are using to posting our transaction and getting all the reports. We are using an accounting software. 90% of the market is using Tally software. Tally is an accounting software. Up to the 9th of November, 8th of November, we are using a Tally.ERP9. Now on the 9th of November, Tally company has introduced a revised version of Tally software which is called as an Tally Prime. Tally Prime. I am going to introduce you the Tally Prime software. What are the new features in the Tally Prime and how we can register GST, posting the transaction in GST, all these things. Now let us check the software Tally Prime. This is a Tally software, Tally Prime. You can see the screen here, Tally Prime. The topmost bar is called as a top menu. Dark blue color strip at the top of the screen which is called as a top menu, and in the right side where you can see the buttons date, company, this is called as a right bar, and the remaining screen is called as a work area. This screen is called as a work area. Topmost bar is called as a top menu, and on the right side is called as a right screen is called as a right bar, and the remaining is called as a work area. In the top menu, you can check it out, the company. Here you can create a company. New company can be created. I had already created the company. You can alter the company. Alteration of the company. Right? Now, you can check it out, all the features. company features, security, Tally Vault, online access, remote access, browser access. You can check it. You can shut the company in a one bar company. Now another features of the top menu. You can easily take the backup, restore data path. You can exchange your data, data synchronization, import the file, export, email, print, and the help. You can get the help. You can take use the add-ons option, use the tally shop, upgrade, what's new, troubleshooting in the help option. Now this is a gateway of the tally. Here you can create a masters. These are all the masters. Accounting master, you can create an accounting master, you can create an inventory masters, you can create a statutory details masters. Now, how can you activate the GST in Tally Prime? This is a feature. You can click on the feature option. Now, check it out. Features display on your screen. Enable goods and service tax. I'm selecting another company. You can open another company using a specified path. Select, and from the select option you can create the company. You can select the remote company or specified path. You can select the company from the specified path of the folder or select from the drive. You can select the company from the drive also. C, D, E, F desktop documents at the download. Now I am selecting another company, GST, right? Now, how to enable the GST in the existing company? Features. From the taxation features, you can enable the goods and service tax GST to yes. Now, you can fill all the details here. First, you have to select the states. From the list of the states, select the type of registration. Is it the regular dealer or the composition dealer? Accessory of other territory. If it is from the other territory, then you can select yes, or otherwise by default you have to select no. GST applicable from 1st of April 20. Now write down the GST number, which is a combination of 15 digits alphanumeric. It is a combination of alphanumeric, 15 digits. First two digits is a code, state code. 27 is a state code for Maharashtra. Then next one is an PAN number, 5 character, 4 numeric and 1 character. These 10 number alphanumeric, combination of alphanumeric number is a PAN number. Another is an code, and the last one is a code number for a specified company. It is a code for specified company. Now, periodicity of GSTR 1 is a monthly or quarterly. If you are a composition dealer, then you have to pay quarterly returns. If you are a regular dealer, then you have to pay a monthly. So we are selecting it a monthly. E-way bill is a document for using a interstate supply of goods. But right now I am selecting no. Enable the tax liability on advance receipt, yes. Enable the tax liability on the reverse charges, yes. Set alter GST rate details should be no. And the remaining options should be no. Press enter key to accept the details of the GST. Now we have completed all our GST. If you want to enable the TDS also in the same company, then you have to press enable tax deducted at source to yes. Now write down the TAN registration number. Another number, it is also a TAN based number, right? Collector or deductor type. Which type of the deductor are you? Company, individual or Hindu undivided family? HUF. I am selecting the company. Deductor, branch or division. If you want to write it down your branch and division, then write it down. I am writing it Nagpur. Set alter detail of the personal responsible who is deducting the TDS. If he is responsible, then write it down the details of it. An important thing, these details will be displayed in all the above detail will be issued in the challan or the forms. If you want this detail in the challan, then you fill this form, otherwise skip it. Please write it down all the details, right? Fill the mobile number, STD code, telephone number, email ID, each and everything. It will be displayed on your challan, forms or returns. Ignore IT exemption limit for the TDS deduction. Rate and exemption details. What you want to do. If you want to ignore it, then by default it is given yes. If you want to accept, then write down the yes. By default it is no. Activate the TDS for the stock items. If you are deducting a TDS for stock item also, then you can press yes. Otherwise, press enter key. Now I am accepting all the details of the GST and the TDS and press enter key again. In this company, we have activated both GST and TDS. In this way, we can use a TDS and GST in a single company. We are using a GST and TDS in a single company, and this is your Tally Prime software. It is very easy. Number of features and option is available here. It is easy to use. We can check the reports of GST and TDS by using a go to and switch option. Can you see at the top bar? Yeah, we can see every reports. For the profit and loss account, you can check it out your profit and loss account. If you want to see the balance sheet, you can click on the balance sheet. Now I am using the option go to switch to. From here also you can check it out if you want to see the reports. Statutory reports, GST reports, GST R1, which is used for outward supply, GST R2, which is used for inward supply, and GST R3B, which is used for returning the file. R1, now we are checking the R1. This is an R1. You can see the report how it will display in the tally. B2B invoices means business to business invoices. B2C means the business to consumer. B2B invoices, business to consumer, credit note, export, tax liability, adjustment, nil rated. In the same way, you can check it out for GSTR2, which is used for inward supply, B2B invoices, and all these types of the reports. Reverse charge liability to be booked for URD, reverse charge inward supply, import of the services, and 3B to return the file. This is a 3B. Same you can check it out in GST portal also. Right? These are all the transactions from where you can post all the transaction. Now I am not explaining you how to do the transactions. Hello? Uh, Hello, ma'am, sir. Sir, I had completed my session.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Yes,
Am I
ma'am.
audible?
Yeah.
Ma'am, thank you for this very informative session. I hope student can understand very clearly about TDS and GST, and after this, they will implement this all this process while using a tally. They have all become and this is students have tally in their syllabus. So your lecture definitely enlighten us about how to make a transaction regarding TDS and tally and what settings and what options has to select for to perform the TDS and GST. So thank you very much, sir. Once again, madam, I thank you on behalf of Shiksha Mandal, JS College of Commerce, Wardha, and from my department, especially from my department, BCC department. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.